Advaita Gadadhar Gauravatta Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we continue reading from Sri Isopanishad Mantra 6. I think we already began the purport of this mantra, right? Is it?
No, I think,
Or we have to
what I
begin the mantra?
we have to start from here, Didi.
Oh, we have to start. Okay, cool. Thank you. Yastu sarvani bhutani Atmani evanupashyati sarvabhuteshu chatmanam tato na vijugupsate. Would someone like to read?
Yeah,
I can read. Oh, so
Okay,
sorry.
good. No problem. Please, I read it last time, so I would rather someone else.
Okay, you sure, yeah?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Sorry. Okay. Translation. He who sees systematically everything in relation to the Supreme Lord, who sees all living entities as his parts and parcel, and who sees the Supreme Lord within everything, never hates anything or any being. Purport. This is a description of the Mahabhagavata, the great personality who sees everything in relation to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord's presence is realized in three stages. The Kanishk Adhikari is in the lowest stage of realization. He goes to a place of worship, such as temple, church, or mosque, according to the religious faith, and worships there according to scriptural injunctions. Devotees and in this stage consider the Lord to be present at the place of worship and nowhere else. They cannot ascertain who is in what position in devotional service, nor can they tell who has realized the Supreme Lord. Such devotees follow the routine formulas and sometimes quarrel among themselves, considering one type of devotion better than another. These Kanisht Adhikaris are actually materialistic devotees who are simply trying to transcend the material boundary to reach the spiritual plane.
So here in this verse, Isopanishad is saying about the Mahabhagavad, one who sees everything in relation to Krishna, one who has understood the position of every soul as part and parcel of Krishna, who can understand that each and every one of us has a loving relationship with Krishna. And because he has love for Krishna, naturally he loves everything and everyone else, because everything and everyone belongs to Krishna. And in this way, he doesn't hate anyone. Now, this is the vision of the Mahabhagavad, because he's already understood Krishna's position, he's understood his relationship with Krishna, he has love for Krishna. So, what about the beginner? The beginner devotee. You know, when we begin, we don't have this kind of a vision. Love of Krishna is not yet manifest in our heart, and we are still thinking in terms of duality, in terms of friends and enemies. So, but at least one is coming to the point of Kanishta Adhikar. We may say, okay, Kanishta Adhikari is the lowest stage of realization, but at least he's taking up devotion to Krishna. And in gradually, due course of time, he will also become a Madhyam and later, if possible, a Mahabhagavad. So at least he's starting, he's going to the temple, he's worshipping the Lord. He's following the rules and regulations. Of course, he's understanding that God is only in the temple. He's not able to as yet understand that God is also Paramatma in everyone's heart, you know? So at this stage, we may quarrel amongst each other. We may say, oh, this type of devotee is better, or that one is better, or this devotion is better, or that one is better. But and the heart may be full of material desires. The beginning, we are beginning our devotional service. We are neophytes in Krishna consciousness. But at least we are beginning. We may say, oh, this is the third, the lowest stage, but at least there is some stage to it. At least someone is actually taking up devotional service, taking up hearing, taking up chanting, going to the temple. So it's a great thing in itself. Yeah. Then we can go on to read the second one.
Those who have attained the second stage of realization are called Madhyam Adhikaris. These devotees observe the distinctions between four categories of being: the Supreme Lord, the devotees of the Lord, the innocent who have no knowledge of the Lord, and the atheists who have no faith in the Lord and hate those in devotional service. The Madhyam Adhikari behaves differently towards these four classes of person. He adores the Lord, considering him the object of love. He makes friends with those who are in devotional service. He tries to awaken the dormant love of God in the hearts of the innocent, and he avoids the atheists who deride the very name of the Lord.
So as the Kanishta Adhikari continues to hear and chant, there is a purification of the heart. One advances in spiritual life. And then one comes to the second stage of realization called Madhyam Adhikari. We should, each of us, at least try to come to this position of the Madhyam. So how does the Madhyam behave is there in Nectar of Instruction also by Srila Rupa Goswami, the Upadeshamrita. So the Madhyam Adhikari, he makes distinctions. We heard Mahabhagavat is making no distinction between anyone. But the Madhyam makes distinction. He's the preacher. He's preaching. So what does he do? His object of love is the Supreme Lord. He knows love is for Krishna. He knows that. And what is his relation with the devotees? He makes friends with the devotees. He's not quarreling. So we can see the Kanishta, he's quarreling with the devotees. But now, because he's continuing to hear and chant, he's engaging in devotional service, the heart is purified, so the understanding becomes clear. And he's making friendship with the devotees. And then he gives his mercy to the innocent. So he's a preacher. He sees that everyone is suffering without Krishna consciousness. And he sees that somebody is willing to hear about Krishna. He speaks to them about Krishna. He gives them a book, a prasad, invites them to the temple, invites them to a program, chants with them, chants to them. And what does he do with the atheist? He avoids them. He does not want to argue. He does not want to get into any kind of discussion or a dispute. He just simply does not discuss spiritual matters with them. So this is the Madhyam. He's the preacher. He's making the distinction so that he can actually spread Krishna consciousness. He's making friends with the devotees. That's his support system. And he really wants to give Krishna consciousness to whoever is ready to accept it. So making arrangements for more and more people to hear and chant. Is that okay?
Yeah. Above the Madhyam Adhikari is the Uttam Adhikari, who sees everything in relation to the Supreme Lord. Such a devotee does not discriminate between an atheist and a theist, but sees everyone as part and parcel of God. He knows that there is no essential difference between a vastly learned Brahmin and a dog in the street, because both of them are part and parcel of the Lord. Although they are engaged in different bodies on account of the different qualities of their activities in their previous lives, he sees that the Brahman particle of the Supreme Lord has not misused his little independence given him by the Lord and that the dog particle has misused his independence and is therefore being punished by the laws of nature by being encaged in the form of a dog. Not considering the respective actions of the Brahmana and the dog, the Uttam Adhikari tries to do good to both. Such a learned devotee is not misled by material bodies but is attracted by the spiritual spark within them.
So this is the Uttama Adhikari, the Mahabhagavat, the pure devotee. He's revived his love for Krishna. He's situated on the transcendental platform. And so he's seeing everything and everyone in relation to Krishna. So he's not seeing, oh, this one is an atheist, this one is a devotee, this one is innocent. No, he's seeing everyone as spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. And he understands that why is one in the body of a dog, why one spirit soul is in the body of a Brahmana, is just because one spirit soul has misused the little independence that we have. And because of the actions one commits by misuse of independence, one has got in the body of a dog. And the other, he did not misuse his independence. He's worked according to rules and regulations. And so now that's why he's received the body of a Brahmana. But he's understanding both are spirit souls, both are part and parcel of Krishna. It's just one has misused his independence, another one is not. But that is also not being a focal point in his consciousness. He's seeing everyone, be it a dog or a Brahmana, as part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita chapter 5 that the gentle and learned Brahmana, by his virtue, sees a dog, dog eater, Brahman, elephant. He sees everyone equally. How is he able to see everyone equally? Because he's understanding everyone is spirit soul, part and parcel of Krishna. That everyone has a loving relationship with Krishna. So this is the consciousness of a Mahabhagavat or Uttam Adhikari. So we heard about Kanishta Adhikari, the beginner, the Madhyam Adhikari, the preacher, and Uttam Adhikari. So usually the Uttam Adhikari may not come to the preaching field. Why? Because they think everyone is a part and parcel of Krishna. Everyone is engaged in their service to Krishna. So, but for the sake of preaching, the Uttam Adhikari will come down to the level of Madhyam and make the distinction and spread Krishna consciousness. Yeah. Just so that everyone can be delivered, everyone can get this holy name. Is that okay?
Yes. Those who imitate an Uttam Adhikari by flaunting a sense of oneness or fellowship, but who behave on the bodily platform are actually false philanthropists. The conception of universal brotherhood must be learned from an Uttam Adhikari and not from a foolish person who does not properly understand the individual soul or the Supreme Lord's supersoul expansion who dwells everywhere.
So, Uttam Adhikari is a very, very high position. He's like the Mahabhagavat, the pure devotee of the Lord. And we can't imitate him. Sure, we may speak words that we may repeat his words, but the consciousness is completely different because he's actually seeing everyone as a part and parcel of Krishna. So he's actually making no difference. There is no that he's not saying this one is my friend or this one is my enemy. He's really on that platform. There is his consciousness is pure consciousness. So someone may try to imitate that. But that does not mean that one has become Uttam Adhikari. And of course, it's in our best interest that we don't try to imitate the activities of a Uttam Adhikari, and that we try to follow in their footsteps, rather, follow the instructions, and at least raise ourselves to come to the Madhyam platform. Try to come to the Madhyam platform, give Krishna consciousness to everyone. That, that is the platform that we are encouraged to come up to.
It is clearly mentioned in this sixth mantra that one should observe or systematically see. This means that one must follow the previous acharyas, the perfected teachers. Anupyasti is the exact Sanskrit word used in this connection. Anu means to follow, and pashyati means to observe. Thus, the word anupashyati means that one should not see things as he does with the naked eye, but should follow the previous acharyas. Due to the material defects, the naked eye cannot see anything properly. One cannot see properly unless one has heard from a superior source, and the highest source is the Vedic wisdom, which is spoken by the Lord Himself. Vedic truths are coming in disciplic succession from the Lord to Brahma, from Brahma to Narad, from Narad to Vyas, and from Vyas to many of his disciples. Formerly, there was no need to record the messages of the Vedas because people in earlier ages were more intelligent and had sharper memories. They should follow the instructions simply by hearing once from the mouth of a bona fide spiritual master.
So, what is the importance of the Vedas? Why we need to follow the Vedas? Because we have to understand our truth, that we have defects. We have 4 defects. Does anyone know what are the 4 defects?
The propensity to cheat,
Yeah,
imperfect senses,
yeah.
False ego.
I'm sorry.
Ego.
Propensity to cheat, imperfect senses, and ego. So that comes into illusion. Yes, that we are in illusion. Yes. And one more.
the propensity to make mistakes.
Yes, we make mistakes. So because of these 4 defects, our knowledge is defective. If we create something, it is going to be defective. Something we create, we come up with something in our mind, it is going to be defective because we have these 4 defects. So how can we understand the real knowledge then? How can we get the knowledge of the absolute truth? So we hear from the Vedas. The Vedas are not spoken by any ordinary person. They are spoken by the Supreme Lord Himself. He is the speaker of the original speaker of the Vedas. Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, first chapter, first verse. Srila Vyasadeva points out, Tene Brahma Hridaya ya Adi Kavaye, that Lord Krishna, He speaks the Vedas unto the heart of Lord Brahma. So Krishna is the original speaker of the Vedas. Krishna is beyond any defect. He's God. God has no defects. And the Vedas, they are the word of God. And then we hear Brahma gave it to his disciple, Narad Muni. He spoke this knowledge to Narad Muni. Narad Muni gave this knowledge to Vyasadeva. Vyasadeva, Madhvacharya. Madhvacharya, coming down to Lord Caitanya, coming down to 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, coming down to Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, and we are hearing this knowledge from Srila Prabhupada. So we are hearing the knowledge in the disciplic succession, in the parampara. And that is the way to receive the Vedic knowledge, to understand the truth. So hearing from the devotees, hearing from the devotees.
At present, there are many commentaries on the revealed scriptures, but most of them are not in the line of disciplic succession coming from Srila Vyasadeva, who originally compiled the Vedic wisdom. The final, most perfect, and sublime work by Srila Vyasadeva is Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra. There is also the Bhagavad Gita, which was spoken by the Lord Himself and recorded by Vyasadeva. These are the most important revealed scriptures, and any commentary that contradicts the principles of the Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam is unauthorized. There is complete agreement among Upanishads, Vedanta Sutra, Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, and Srimad Bhagavatam, and no one should try to reach any conclusion about the Vedas without receiving instruction from members of Vyasadeva's disciplic succession who believe in the personality of Godhead and his diverse energies as they are explained in Sri Isopanishad.
So in Vedic times, this knowledge, the Vedic knowledge, was received just by hearing. But then coming Kali Yuga, Srila Vyasadeva knew that, our lives are very short, our memories are even shorter. We barely can remember anything. So for our benefit, he recorded the Vedas. So not only did he record it, it was one big Ved before, but he also divided them into four, Rig, Yajur, Atharva, Sam. And then he wrote the Upanishads, the explanations, and the Puranas, the explanations. Then what he did was he said, okay, now people in Kali Yuga are going to be so short-lived, they won't be able to read all the Vedas. So let me write Vedanta Sutra. So Sutra is like in codes, how we have computer codes. So he wrote the Vedic knowledge and he coded it. It's called the Vedanta Sutra. And he did so much work, Upanishads and Vedas and the Vedanta Sutra, and yet he was feeling dissatisfied. And so he asked his guru, Narad Muni, that, why am I feeling so dissatisfied? I've done so much work for humanity. I've given them all the knowledge, but yet I don't feel very good. What shall I do? Narad Muni told him, well, because you've given so much knowledge, but you didn't say in a very direct way, what is the goal of human life? What is one supposed to do? People are going to get thoroughly confused by all these writings that you have done. And so this is the reason Srila Vyasadeva he compiled the Srimad Bhagavatam, the final, most perfect and sublime work by Srila Vyasadeva in his maturity. So after he's written all the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Puranas, the Vedanta Sutra, he wrote a natural commentary on the Vedanta Sutra, which is the Srimad Bhagavatam. And that is his most mature work. It speaks, Srimad Bhagavatam speaks of devotional service, of the pure devotees of Krishna. It speaks of Krishna, his incarnations, his expansions. There's nothing material in Srimad Bhagavatam. It does not deal with any material knowledge. It's completely transcendental. So if one wants to actually understand the Vedanta Sutra, because Vyasadeva is the author of the Vedanta Sutra, and to explain the Vedanta Sutra, he wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam. Because Vedanta Sutra is very difficult to understand. We do not even have those Brahmanical qualifications to be able to understand these codes. Like, for example, not everyone can understand the computer codes. You need to have that kind of education. And that kind of education, we don't have that kind of intelligence in Kali Yuga. So to easily explain it, Srila Vyasadeva wrote the Srimad Bhagavatam, and he has given us this most valuable treasure of Srimad Bhagavatam. And we hear it, we receive it in the disciplic succession. In fact, Bhadra Purnima is coming up soon, next month, 29th of September. And Bhagavatam says that anyone who gives a gift of Bhagavatam on that day goes back home, back to Godhead. This is what Bhagavatam says in Canto 12, that whoever makes a gift of Bhagavatam on the day of Bhadra Purnima goes back home, back to Godhead. So we can also try to distribute Bhagavatam on this very auspicious day of Bhadra Purnima.
Does it count if you give yourself the gift?
Sure, why not? Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't have
sure.
it.
Get yourself a Bhagavatam. Yes. Get yourself, contact your local temple, get yourself a set of Bhagavatam, get it on Bhadra Purnima. And I'm sure all the temples, so many temples are, um, speaking so much about it. They have this Bhadra Purnima program going on, Bhagavatam distribution program going on. So you please contact your local authority and you can get one for yourself. Wonderful. Wonderful.
Okay. Shall I continue?
Please.
Yeah. According to the Bhagavad Gita 18.54, only one who is already on the liberated platform, Brahmbhuta, can become an Uttama Adhikari devotee and see every living being as his own brother. This vision cannot be had by politicians who are always after some material gain. One who imitates the symptom of an Uttama Adhikari may serve another's outward body for the purpose of fame or material reward, but he does not serve the spirit soul. Such an imitator can have no information of the spiritual world. The Uttama Adhikari sees the spirit soul within the material body and serves him as spirit. Thus, the material aspect is automatically served.
So Brahmabhuta platform, Krishna is saying only on the Brahmabhuta platform, Mad Bhaktim Labate Param. He says that one who is on the liberated platform, then one attains pure devotional service. So it means that pure devotional service begins from the point of liberation. Liberation, one may think that liberation is the end, that's the goal, that, after liberation, there's nothing, there's only nothing to do. One is just probably just sleeping or doesn't exist. No, what Krishna says, Mad Bhaktim Labate Param on the Brahmabhuta platform. Brahmabhuta prasanatmana sochati na kankshati samasarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labate param. So on the liberated platform begins pure devotional service. And the pure devotee, he sees samasarveshu bhuteshu. He sees everyone equally because he's seeing everyone as part and parcel of Krishna. He's not seeing the outward dress. He understands everyone is spirit soul. He is not manipulating another for his own gain, any material gain, any reward, any fame or profit or adoration. No, he simply wants to serve another, serving the soul, not the body, because we are the soul, not the body. And in serving the soul, he automatically serves the body. That is the position of the Uttama Adhikari. So we can see, actually, we cannot imitate this position. We may speak some words which may sound kind of imitation, but actually to work on that platform, the consciousness is completely different. So we are encouraged. We are encouraged, okay, we are Kanishta, we are beginners in devotional service. We are encouraged to continue to hear and chant, and revive our relationship with Krishna. Each of us have a loving relationship with Krishna. And we can revive it by hearing and chanting. And we can help others to revive their relationship with Krishna by encouraging them to hear and chant. Did anyone have any questions on what we just read or spoke? Or any comments?
I just when you're reading about the Uttam Adhikari and how he goes back to as Madhyam Adhikari, I was just remembering something I had read about Srila Prabhupada, that once he was sitting on a bench with with his disciples, and then I think they saw a bug or something, and Srila Prabhupada instructed his disciples to chant very loudly so the bug also gets liberated. So I was just thinking of that when we were speaking about Uttam Adhikari and how he sort of, sees everyone as equally. And I don't know if this counts, but Prabhupada was also used to say that, like a lot of Hindu gurus would not give opportunities to women, but he decided that he would do that. He would not distinguish between men and women also, which, I don't think it gets spoken about a lot, that he accepted women disciples and, treated them equally in that sense. So I was just thinking of all this.
Yeah, it's true. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, Prabhupada is Attama Adhikari Mahabhagavat, and that's how he was specifically empowered. That's how he single-handedly could spread the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra all over the world. But for our benefit, he was associating with us, preaching. He was doing so much preaching, as you rightly said, coming down to the Madhyam platform. And yeah, but all along if we hear talks about his, like people who had personal association with him, no doubt he was on, a transcendental platform looking at everyone equally. His consciousness was up there. And about him accepting women disciples, yeah, that's one of the first things that we studied in the Bhakti Shastri also, that how Srila Prabhupada, he didn't change any principle, but the details, like before sannyasis would not, say, travel abroad, take planes, or cross the ocean. But Srila Prabhupada, okay, engage everything in Krishna's service. There is aeroplane, there are ships, okay, use that. Go everywhere, speak about Krishna. Women, men and women are equal status in society. You can't have that kind of discrimination. So yes, he gave initiation to women and all that sorts of things. So we can see he's truly he's an acharya, because he's preaching according to time, place, and circumstance, not changing the principles. So the principles are the same, but spreading Krishna consciousness to everyone. So yes, thank you for bringing that up.
Okay.
Okay. So did anyone have any other question? Because we just have about 5 minutes and I don't want to get into start the other mantra. Did anyone want to discuss about anything or have any question? Or... Not really?
Not really.
Not really. So let's together say the Hare Krishna mantra 3 times and then we can stop it for today. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Together we can chant. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Thank you so much. La Prabhupada ki Jai.